What is going on, everybody? Danny back here for another video for you guys, man. Appreciate you guys stopping by the channel once again. If you guys have not, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button with the notification bell turned on, man. All that is greatly appreciated. Today, we're going to be checking out somebody's video who I am actually a really big fan of. He was in WWE for a while, got released back in like 05, 06, and he pretty much became the most irrelevant person in pro wrestling in the grand scheme of things or whatever. He got away from the business for a lot of years, never really did any conventions up until recently. About a year ago, he started to pop up on YouTube, making these YouTube videos or whatever, talking about the business, and the dude just blew up, man. Almost 500k subs. Congratulations to him. We're talking about, of course, Maven Huffman, man. Winner of the first season of Tough Enough. That was around the Attitude Era. I remember him winning the Hardcore title and him eliminating The Undertaker in the Royal Rumble, etc. If you guys don't know who Maven is by now, encourage you guys to watch his YouTube videos. You get an inside look into somebody that was actually in WWE. Like, you get a lot of content creators and a lot of people talking about the business or whatever that aren't necessarily in the business. They haven't been in the weeds, so to speak, or whatever. And now you have this guy who's talking about stuff that, he's went through, he's seen, some of the stuff backstage or whatever. Pretty much opens the door, allowing everyday folk like me and you see the way WWE used to operate. Today, we're going to be checking out this video that he released 2 days ago, man. I've stayed away from it. I did want to make this a video and react to it and give you guys my real-time thoughts on it. The truth about WWE backstage politics. That is a long discussion that a lot of people have or whatever, especially around, like, not necessarily now anymore. How can you get rid of all of it? But there is some backstage politics or whatever still today, I guarantee you. It was really heavy around Vince McMahon, when Vince McMahon was heavily involved with creative and stuff like that. So we're going to check this out, man. Like I said, if you guys like videos like this, make sure you guys smash the subscribe button. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Check this out, man. Maven Huffman, the truth about WWE backstage politics.
Hey guys, Maven here. Just like in any business, skill, hard work, and dedication are hallmarks for finding success in the WWE. But sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So
it's who you know, man.
Talking all
how you get ahead in the business,
backstage politics, and how it could help or hurt a promising career in the WWE. Now, before we begin, I have to describe what I mean by backstage.
Bro, can we just talk about how great and how cinematic some of his shots look?
Politics. And again, this is my experience. Once you get into the WWE,
it looks like he's in Washington, D.C.
You're gonna
it looks like there's a school or field trip or something.
People that you run with, the people that you're most comfortable with. Dare I say, your own clique.
Nah, your own clique, man. Too sweet.
This group of friends can be viewed from the office as either helping or hurting someone's career. Now, this can come in two forms. Perhaps a friend could be indirectly hurting your career, or they could be outright sabotaging it altogether. Something I actually have experience with. And I'll dive in later about how I feel backstage politics perhaps could have swayed the arc of my career. But first, let's talk about how a friend, a riding mate, a buddy might indirectly hurt your career. Now, how does my play out in real life? Well, I got to lean on numero uno as my #1 example. Obviously, once I had been in WWE a few years, I started riding with Randy Orton. The way Randy and I ended up,
I thought it was going to be Devon because he talks about Devon a lot. Him and Devon have a great relationship.
Originally on SmackDown, he was on Raw. And once they had the draft, split the shows, and the rosters went in two different directions, I found myself on Raw without a riding partner, and Randy was quick to come to my aid.
Randy Orton, man, the GOAT.
What Randy Orton has become. But if you can go back 20-some years and think of a younger, slightly less accomplished legend killer, they knew immediately that they were going to strap a rocket onto his ass and shoot him directly to the moon. And don't get me wrong, he had everything that it took. So, if you have a star, what's the one thing the higher-ups are going to want that star to avoid? Well,
bro, this isn't the first video that he made talking about Randy Orton or whatever, and what, how Randy Orton came in, he was billed as, being this megastar in WWE back then, whatever, because of who his dad was and who his grandfather was or whatever. Maven talked about how out of everybody that was in WWE in the mid-2000s or whatever, Randy Orton was the one that, really took him under his wing and really befriended him and really, showed him the ropes and, understood that, what it's like to be the new guy. We need to get Randy Orton and Maven to do a video together, bro. Sort of like because he said he hasn't seen or talked to Randy in years. We need to get that reconnection going, bro. That video will go so viral, I don't think anybody will expect it.
That's them getting in their own way, being their own worst enemy. And the easiest way to self-sabotage is running with the wrong crowd. And I've heard it before that if you look at someone's crowd, you can see their future. Well, the WWE knew this, and I hate to admit it, but they probably viewed me as not as serious about the wrestling business as I needed to be at the time. In previous videos, I've talked all about some of my regrets, and obvious one of my regrets is that I cared more about what wrestling could give me than what I could give the wrestling business. Well, knowing this, they wanted Randy to surround himself by people that could only elevate his career, not people.
Which is why they
that
put
would
him in
hold
Evolution
back.
with
And
Triple H and Ric Flair.
hey, I
and
gotta own it. I'm afraid at the time they
Batista.
probably saw me as potentially holding back Randy's career. But how does that play in backstage politics? Well, we're jumping ahead. I told you.
We're jumping ahead.
Later in the video. Now, examples of people, in my view, had their career altered.
Bro, look at
by
that dirty ass
backstage
water, man. It looks
politics.
like
I'll give
fucking
you
like
two.
motor oil.
And again, guys, disclaimer, this is my opinion. I've obviously went into this guy in, I've done a whole video on him, but Test is one. And
Andrew
look at the
Test
video
Martin,
I did on
man.
Test,
Rest
because I
in
talk
peace.
all about how I think his career could have been up here and it was down here in some aspects. And a lot of that had to do with how he was viewed and who he was friends with backstage. But the other one that I think, my number 2 on the list, might shock you, but I view
Damn, bro, we got hit with an ad right before we were supposed to make this major revelation.
Scott Steiner.
Oh, Scott Steiner.
Backstage
Big
politics
pump.
affect his run. And now, bear with me for
Scott
a second. By the time
Steiner.
Scott got to the WWE, the prime of his career was in the rear view, obviously. And for anyone who only knows Scott's career from the 2003 era, oh no, go back and look at those old WCW
Bro, I remember Scott in
videos
WCW. I
of
remember him
and
in
his brother
WWE. I
in his
remember him in
prime.
TNA.
I don't think there was anyone more athletic. I don't think there was anyone more aggressive. And
I
there
wasn't
was
watching
very
when
few people who could
Scott
have
and
a
his brother
better
were teaming
wrestling
up
match than Scott
as
in
the
his
Steiner
prime.
brothers.
But by the time he got to the WWE,
I've only known Scott
there
when he's had the white
were
hair, bro.
people that, let's just say, weren't in his corner. And Scott sabotaged a lot of his own career because Scott was not going
I used to when I was a kid, I used to want one of those
lying
fucking
down.
like
If he didn't
chain
like something
netting
about his
things.
character direction, if he didn't like something about a match, Scott was not the guy who wasn't going to speak up. So perhaps his own attitude helped play into this. But Scott had his fair share of enemies backstage that were not trying to help boost his career. In fact, if you ask my opinion, I think they were trying to bring it to a halt altogether.
They were trying to
Now,
sabotage
we've talked about
Mr.
how
Scotty
backstage
Hall, bro.
politics can negatively affect a
Scotty!
career. But there's a flip side to that coin.
Or Scott
And for
Steiner,
that,
rather.
I give
Scott
you
Hall.
Shelton
Rest in peace,
Benjamin.
Scott Hall.
Now, wait, before you start, oh, Maven, you think Shelton got what he got because of politics? Not at all.
Shelton
I've never met
Benjamin!
anybody more athletic than Shelton. I've never met a better guy, someone who was
I don't know how
just
WWE
smiling
released this guy,
all
man.
the times. But
They
I
just
do
gave
know
ample
that
opportunity
the
for
WWE
AEW to swoop
always
the right
knew
the fuck in,
whenever
bro.
they gave Shelton a belt, whether it be a tag
Charlie
title
Haas.
or during his singles run as the IC champion, or later after they released him, he was easy to bring back. And part of the reason is because I never met anybody that disliked Shelton. I never met anybody that didn't respect Shelton. I have never met one person that has one negative thing to say about Shelton Benjamin. When you're liked by everyone, even the office, makes it easy for promotion to happen. Again, I'm not saying that's what helped give Shelton the push he deserved, but I'm also not saying it hurt. Another example of someone who backstage politics has helped, R-Truth. Now, I worked with him
R-Truth.
during my time on the Indies after my release, and there's nobody that you're going to be in a locker room that's going to make you laugh more. And this carried over to when he was rehired by the WWE in 2008. And you look, this many years later, he is still there, and I dare you, try to find one negative comment about him. He's another one that is going to make you smile, that's going to brighten your day, simply being around. Has he been a main event talent? No. Has he been the guy who is head of the marquee? Never. But he has firmly established himself a career and a solid reputation as that go-to guy, as that person you can lean on.
Bro, I want to ask this question, man, before we continue in this video, and at least on the R-Truth discussion or whatever. Do you guys think R-Truth deserves at least one world title shot before, or one world title victory before his career comes to an end? I mean, the dude's done a lot of stuff in his career, done a lot of stuff in TNA, did a lot of stuff in WWE. You know, I remember when he first came in as K-Quick with Road Dogg back in 2000. Like, people honestly forget how long R-Truth has actually been in WWE, or at least had some kind of affiliation with WWE. I mean, I would not mind. You know, they've given some questionable people WWE title before. Alberto Del Rio, or he was the world champion or whatever. But I would like to see R-Truth with one world title before he hangs up his boots, man. I don't know. I feel like he deserves it.
Whether it be for a good wrestling match or for comic relief during a show. That comes from being well-liked backstage. Now, another individual that I know personally had his career affected by backstage
Look at the Ducks. Look at the Ducks, Darkwing Duck.
Now, I know what you're saying.
Oh, Alex Riley.
Alex Riley.
This guy had a lot of fucking enemies in WWE, bro.
But
he was one of those dudes that fucking like.
I know him from my time in Florida. We spent some time together once his WWE career had come to an end, and I know the stories that he told me. Backstage politics definitely affected him and affected him negatively. Now, how could someone
I heard he was a dick, bro, to be honest with you.
Your career, even if they're a friend? And I'm giving only hypotheticals.
This dude's
here,
100%
so don't read
in Washington,
into it too
D.C.,
damn
bro.
much.
Look at all the
But
monuments.
The one thing I do know, egos matter. And when you get to the level of
I feel like Washington, D.C., and this has literally nothing to do with the video. I just feel like I want to talk right now. I feel like Washington, D.C. is like one of those cities that, you know, if you just show one monument or one building or whatever, you automatically know where it's at. Like, you can't do that with maybe LA, California, just because it's, you know, it's so publicized, I guess. But like, you know, Oregon or North Carolina or Houston, Texas. You could show me 6 pictures of what the city of Houston looks like, and I wouldn't unless you told me, I wouldn't know what it looked like. Washington, D.C. is like one of those cities. You see one thing and you're like, oh yeah, that's where he is.
In the WWE,
that had literally nothing to do with the video, but
we all care about how
I felt like it was necessary to speak on
after the show. We all care about how big our pop is. We all care about our placement on the card. If someone has a higher position on the card than you do, friend or acquaintance, it starts to play with you after a while.
Starts to play with you after a while, man.
Where people sabotage. Maybe they put little stories out. True or untrue really doesn't matter. Their whole goal is to knock that person down a peg or two. And I'm not saying it's only like this in the WWE.
It's going to take a lot knocking knock me down, man. I'm like Humpty Dumpty.
Well, all I'm saying, it exists in the WWE just as much. Now, as I stated earlier in the video,
well, like, look at the shots, man. The White House. There we go.
Might have played a role in my development.
Like, did you see the secondary shots? That's why this guy's videos are so fucking awesome. Because, like, he's not only talking about, you know, stuff that us wrestling fans are very interested in him talking about or whatever and speaking on, but he also, like his visuals alone could drive non-wrestling fans to want to check out his videos just because of like the cool atmosphere.
Believe me, I have stated before, and I believe wholeheartedly, I was the reason I didn't elevate beyond a mid-carder, but I did get positive feedback from someone I trust implicitly, who worked in the office, who worked backstage, who was at every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view event, who was in those backstage meetings, who told me, actually quite recently told me, that every time my name would be mentioned, there was something pushing it back down.
Something pushing it back down.
My rise in the WWE. Do I think that's the reason? Absolutely not. I own my own baggage, as I've said before.
I own my
know
own
the
baggage.
work I didn't put in, but it was interesting to find out that while I had a lot of people in my corner helping me, trying to make me better, I still had a select few that for whatever reason just were never going to be a fan. All that said, backstage politics was not the reason I was let go. So to find out the real reason and hear all about the day I got fired, click the link on screen.
Again, it's what I love about his videos as well is like it's all his videos tie into each other. He was just talking about I don't think politics is the reason why, you know, I got let go by WWE. If you want to know the real reason I got let go, you know, click the thing on the video. Bro, I would love to do something like that, but I just don't think I'm smart enough to do that. Because I feel like there's a lot of planning that would have to go into doing that. You know what I mean? I mean, bro, give it up for Maven, man. Dude's taking over fucking YouTube, bro. Anyway, guys, man, I appreciate you guys stopping by the video, stopping by the channel once again. If you guys have not, make sure you guys leave a like on the video on your way out. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button with the notification bell turn on. I'll see you guys next time.
I'll rip and screaming from your soul.